First, I'll start by beveling the leading edges of the wing and reinforcing the leading edges with tape. Now I'll cut my aileron hinges out and reinforce them with hot glue. Next, I'll start forming my fuselage skin, opening up the seams with barbecue skewers to allow me to make the folds. To create a section, I hold my skins into shape with a former. Then, I fill the seams with glue. After that has dried, I then glue in the former. Now I will go on to the canopy, which is done the same way. But as you can see, I have to do some trimming to get it into shape. I tried using a metal file to finish it off, but sandpaper ended up working much better. Now I will continue on the next section of the fuselage. Now we'll form the nose section, but I'm going to wait to put this on until the end because I don't want to damage it while building the rest of the plane. Now I'm going to join the two wing skins together. First I'm going to tape it, fold it over, fill that seam with glue, fold it back, and then let it dry. Now I will go on to the next section of the fuselage, doing it the same way as the others. Now I will go on to the tail section. This is the same as the others, with the exception that I'll be using the motor mount as my former instead of a foam former. Now, because I'm waiting for my carbon fiber spar, I'm going to start forming the top sections of the fuselage. My next step is to start putting the wing together. First, I'll peel off the paper on the bottom of the top wing skin. This will allow me to mold and form it over the edge of the table to get a nice smooth airfoil. Then, to give us added strength to the leading edge, I will pick out a small channel on the leading edge and glue in a barbecue skewer. This will give us a much harder edge that will withstand dents and rough landings much better. Then I will glue a carbon fiber spar in. This spar is a 6x500mm carbon fiber spar that I got from Loft Hobbies. After that, I can then glue the top wing skin down. Then I can do the same on the other side. Now that I have the outer wing skins glued down, it's time to move towards the center. I will first start by taping the upper wing skins to the lower ones using packing tape. Then I will peel paper and mold the same way I did with the outer skins. Before I glue it down, I need to install my servos. The servos I'll be using for this build are 17-gram digital metal gear servos. I am using these larger servos that can fly this thing at really high speeds without having any power issues, and the digital servos are better than analog servos for this because they are more precise than the cheaper analog ones. To mount my servos in the wing, I'll first cut out the form of the servo on the wing and then pick out the foam using a barbecue skewer. This will allow the servo to seat down fully in the wing to help reduce drag. Once I'm happy with the fit, I can glue it in. Once I get my servos installed, I can add the barbecue skewer to the leading edge. Then once everything looks good, I can glue the top wing skin down. Once that has dried, I'll do the same thing on the other side. Now that I have the wing all put together, it's time to glue the wing to the fuselage. Now I can go on to making the firewall for my motor. The material I'm using for it is just an old plastic shell from Walmart. It doesn't work so great on larger builds, but as the firewall is small on this build, it should work great. The reason why I like using this over wood is to cut it to shape, all I have to do is score it, and then it cracks off clean with a pair of pliers, which makes it a lot easier to cut out than wood. The motor I'm using for this build is a 3536 PowerDrive 4S 1800 kV brushless motor and will be spinning a 7x8 APC prop. This motor is crazy powerful and I hope to hit at least 200 miles per hour with this on 6S. Now I'll glue my motor and firewall into the back of the plane, doing my best to get it as straight as possible. Now that we have the electronics installed, we can go on to putting the last top fuselage sections on. Because we're going to be pushing this plane really hard, I'm also going to cut a couple NACA ducts to help cool the electronics. Now that we have the fuselage done, we can move on to the nose section. Now it's time to make the very front nose cone. Because I can't fold foam tight enough, I'm just going to use poster board instead. Now I can glue on the vertical stabilizers. After that, it's on to servo linkages. Now, on to the control horns. I'm using the same plastic as I used for the firewall for these, and after I'm done with those, it's on to the control linkages, programming, and then for the Maiden. Okay, we're all set for maiden. We're going to do it with a 1300 milliamp 4 cell. Power it on. There we go. Just have a little masking tape to hold the hatch on for now. Not quite sure how this is going to go. We shall see though. Got lots of power. Okay, let's get her in the air. Well, it flies. It's gonna be fast. Okay, this little right trim actually handles quite well. Oh dear, I lost orientation. Oh, there we go. Let's bring her down a little. That's way too high from. Oh dear, I really tuned her the wrong way. It actually flies quite well. Okay. Let's bring her for a faster pass. Let's bring her down. It's quite fast. Definitely put 6S in this. I think it's going. I could probably hit 120 easily. Okay, let's bring her in. I think my battery's dying. I only have a 1300 in there. That motor really draws quite a bit. Okay. Nice. Perfect. Big shout out to Mr. Man. This thing flies nice. I accidentally tuned it the opposite of what I needed to, so I was like heeling really bad at one point. I almost lost orientation, but man, this thing flies really nice actually. I was surprised. So I just put the 1300 all the way up in the nose and it balances out perfect. I just have a very slight bit of a positive elevator and it flies really good. I mean, I gotta say, I'm surprised at how well this flies. I think with a 6S in here, in fact, I don't even know if that battery was fully charged. I don't know, it seemed a little bit on the slow side. I think this thing really has the potential to go really fast. So yeah, thanks guys for watching, and subscribe and hit the notification bell, because we're gonna take this thing with a 6S pack on it and put a GPS in it, so we can really test the limits with this and see how fast this thing actually will go. Because I gotta say, it's probably going at least 100, and I'm not even sure if this pack is fully charged. And let's see, does it have 45 to 90? So yeah, not that great. I'll put a CNHL in here, which has like 120 C running and probably like 180 discharge at least, burst. Yeah, it handles really well. There's plans on the Flite Test forum, free plans. So yeah, if you like it, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.